condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put two dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your
Ahmadiyyah.
skin?
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
I'm getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're
Every time for the sex game, my kick, the words, my faith, can't even only be money saves. It's like an earthquake, don't follow you out. Create a constant, just get it from the ground. Such a nice place, just a more for all.
All right. Hello, everyone. Grand Rising. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. All right. And also, as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Now, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr_A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A. Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. All right. Hello, Anita Harrell. Barry White is in the house. Deronda. Fat Boo is here. Sequoia. Samantha. Darnell. All right. So let's get into it. Likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Shout out to everyone tuned into the Queen. And shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, Black Passage. 504 Nola is in here. It's Bree to you. All right, Pearly. Okay, so let's talk about it. So you all, hey, Broken Silence. Listen, you all know Diddy is still trying to get out of jail, okay? He's still trying to get bail. Again, what is this, the fourth time? Now, I told you all the other day that they claimed, his attorneys that is, claimed that they had some, hey, Sharon, they claimed that they had some new evidence, okay? And I find it all very interesting because Diddy has gotten everybody and his mother, literally, to sign off on this new bail agreement. So let's get into it. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers filed new bail motion for claim evidence depicts a consensual relationship. Now, when they're talking about a consensual relationship, I want you all to pay attention. Because what they're actually talking about is the videotape with Cassie. Okay, they're talking about the videotape with Cassie. I mean, this man, his lawyers sound real crazy, and they really need to stop saying this stuff because it makes them sound ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. They're basically trying to imply that Cassie was, the whole thing with Diddy and Cassie fighting in the hotel, or him fighting because she wasn't, basically was consensual. But let's talk about it. Hit that like button, guys. Remember, it does cost you a thing. So 1 month after the rapper was denied bail for the second time, his attorneys filed a motion November the 8th requesting bail once again, arguing that changed circumstances and new evidence should allow him to be released from bail ahead of his May 5th trial, according to documents obtained. Now, the motion for bail claims that new evidence makes it clear that the government's case is thin. This is what it says. It's like basically y'all got nothing. Okay? So the defense alleged that new evidence refutes the prosecution's claim that the March 2016 video of Combs physically assaulting a woman in a hotel occurred during a coerced freak off. So this is what he's saying, because remember, Cassie said in her lawsuit that this all happened right after they had that freak off. Okay? Now they're saying this isn't the case. It wasn't during a coerced freak off or some elaborate sex performance, as was cited in the initial indictment. Instead, the motion claims that the video was a minutes-long glimpse into a complex but decades-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and victim 1. Combs, who was arrested in September on charges of racketeering, sex trafficking, and using transportation to engage in prostitution, pleaded not guilty to the charges in the case. Now, his attorneys also argued that the new evidence refutes the prosecution's notion there was a potential second alleged victim per their motion. Now, Combs has remained in custody at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, since his arrest in September. Okay, now they say E! News reached out to the office of the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York for comment, and so far has not heard back. Combs' attorneys also declined to comment. Well, I bet they did. So during the September 17th hearing after Combs' arrest, U.S. Assistant Attorney Emily Johnson cited a 2016 video that was released this May, in which she said the Bad Boy Records founder assaulted an unnamed victim. Now, it says, following a freak-off at the Intercontinental Hotel, the defendant violently assaulted the victim, who was trying to leave the hotel room and was walking down the hall to the elevators. He punched her, he threw her to the ground, he kicked her. He attempted to drag her back to the hotel room, and then later he threw a vase at her. It's after this assault that the cover-up started, she says. Now, Johnson argued that the incident and what she referred to as the subsequent disappearance of the footage was critical to understanding both the physical danger of the defendant and the obstruction efforts that he goes to. She claimed that Combs directed his staff to contact the hotel security staff in an apparent effort to obtain the surveillance video that recorded every moment of that assault, and that the video then disappeared, which she said was not a coincidence. Now, in May, a 2016 video of Combs physically assaulting his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was published by CNN. That incident matched the description that Ventura, who dated Combs on and off for 10 years until 2018, detailed in her November 2023 civil lawsuit, in which she accused him of rape and abuse. Combs denied those accusations at the time and then settled one day after. Okay. He addressed the video days later with that fake bogus apology that we all heard and that was clearly not sincere. Okay, so I'm going to stop right there and we're going to go over these documents. Now, I'm not going to read all of these documents, mind you, because it's like 27 pages, but I will go over the key parts. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Before I get into that, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so you can purchase 12 Tribes at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Now, Fat Boo says, he said she took his clothes. That's no reason to be at someone. Let me tell you something. I doubt she took anything of his. And if she did, she likely did so, hoping that that would keep him from being able to chase her, or come after her. But the bottom line is he can make up whatever excuse he wants and needs. We all saw the footage. There is no excuse for him to have been doing all of that. Even if she had attacked him when she was in the room with him, okay, there would still have been no reason because she was trying to leave. So there's no way he can justify that. There's no way he can justify it. And that's why his lawyer needs to stop making these asinine excuses, saying that it was a consensual relationship. So basically, the lawyer is trying to imply that because they had this relationship for a decade off and on, that they likely beat each other, or this is just the way they got down. Okay, we're supposed to think that makes it make sense. Please pay attention. But let's get into these documents. So Mr. Sean Combs, through his counsel, renews his motion for release, okay, pending trial. Now, with that all being said, and mind you, they said they had new evidence. Oh, sorry, guys. I forgot to turn my alarm off. Okay, now I want you all to pay attention. First and foremost, they claimed that they had new evidence, but the strange thing is that new evidence was only them talking about that video. And if memory serves me correct, his attorneys have already said something about that. Okay, before. That's clearly not new evidence. Now, they just have these shenanigans going on. Fat Boo said that wasn't heard about when the tape came out. Exactly. And even when the tape came out, some people foolishly were trying to excuse Diddy's behavior by saying that, in fact, she may have been trying to steal his money. Maybe she had his money in the bag. Who cares? Even if she had the money in the bag. If that were the case, he would have just taken the bag and gone back to his room. That was no excuse. But anyway, let me continue. So anyway, it goes on to say that this renewed motion is based on a significantly updated proposed bail package. New evidence as well has changed circumstances regarding Mr. Combs' ability to prepare for trial while detained. First, Mr. Combs proposes an updated bail package that is far more robust than the previous proposal, as well as other bail packages routinely approved by courts in this circuit. Now, the proposed package even surpasses a bail package recently requested by the government in a comparable case in a neighboring district. Okay, the updated proposed conditions, which include home detention with a strict 24/7 security monitoring arrangement and near total restriction on Mr. Combs on his ability to contact individuals other than counsel, will reasonably assure the appearance of Mr. Combs as required and the safety of any other person and the community. Now, that's the first point they make. And the second is new evidence received in discovery from the government undermines the primary basis on which the government initially sought and Judge Carter ordered detention. The evidence makes clear that the government's case is thin. It confirms the defense's initial description of the events depicted in the March 2016 video recording. The video is not evidence of a coerced freak-off, but rather a minutes-long glimpse into a complex but decades-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and victim one. Additionally, the new evidence refutes the government's proffer at the initial hearing regarding a potential second alleged victim. And the new evidence confirms that the government's obstruction and witness tampering allegations at the initial bail hearing lacked a factual basis. So are they trying to say that the government lied? That's what it sounds like? It lacked a factual basis. So in other words, they're saying they lied. Okay, please pay attention. That's exactly what they're saying. Okay, so I find it all so interesting. Now, and then the third point they make is Mr. Combs' current conditions of confinement infringe his constitutional rights to participate in his own defense. Now, remember, they talked about how Diddy had been taking notes and all of that. And then they said that there was a cell count. Or you guys remember when I told you how they said they came in to check the cell and they snatched up his receipts. They snatched up his notes and all that, and they got them all out of order or whatever. And so they're basically saying this is all going against Diddy's, they're violating his rights. This is what the attorney is implying, that they're violating Diddy's rights. So anyway, it goes on to say, Mr. Combs' current conditions of confinement infringe his constitutional rights to participate in his own defense. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. I'm going to scroll past some of this because, like I said, this is like 25 pages, and I am not going to read this 27 pages. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. Okay. Now, with that all being said, they say, accordingly, Mr. Combs moves to reopen the prior detention decision. Okay. And wants to and ask for request release on the proposed updated conditions detailed herein. Okay. So first off, the court's authority. Now, the court can revisit the prior detention order under two separate provisions of the Bail Reform Act. Okay, permits a new bail hearing at any time before trial if the judicial officer finds that information exists that was not known to the movement at the time of the hearing, and this has a material bearing on the issue whether there are conditions of release that will reasonably assure the appearance of such person as required and the safety of any other person and the community. And so it expressly permits the court to revisit a prior detention order and release a defendant in custody to the extent that the judicial officer determines such release to be necessary for the preparation of the person's defense or for another compelling reason. So basically saying they need to just go ahead and let him out because he has to be able to, get his defense together. But I'm sorry, isn't that what his attorneys are for? Please make that make sense. Now, then they go on to say, the proposed updated conditions are sufficient. Now, the defense proposes the following updated bail package, which will assuage any concerns of danger and obstruction and will ensure Mr. Combs' appearance in court. Okay, they say one, the $50,000 bond, and this was co-signed. Now, listen to this. It was co-signed by Mr. Combs' mother, Janice Combs. They don't put her name, but that's what they're talking about. Janice Combs, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, that's his baby's mama, okay, and the mother of his youngest daughter and his 3 adult sons. So Diddy, in his desperation, is getting everybody, he's getting all these other people involved in this. Now he got all these people co-signing. So what exactly is this supposed to mean? That if Diddy runs off, the courts can come after them because they all make themselves responsible and liable for him showing up to his court hearing. So for example, if he was to flee the country, well, then they'd all be responsible. Okay. So anyway, with that all being said, the second point is, and even his adult 3 sons, pay attention. Now, the next point is secured by equity. And I want you all to pay attention because here's the thing. His baby moms have got to be crazy. I wouldn't be co-signing anything for him. Okay, after all this stuff he's done. I absolutely would not. But anyway, it goes on to say that secured by the equity of Mr. Combs' residence located in Miami, Florida, an unencumbered property appraised at about $48 million. Further secured by the equity of Mr. Combs' mother's home in Miami, Florida. Okay, full home detention at its residence in a suitable location in New York with GPS monitoring. Okay, so this all sounds about the same. The only thing that I can see that's different thus far is the fact that he's gotten all these other people to co-sign because he already said he would put up the house, the $50 million house before. He already said that he would do the GPS monitoring. He already said that he would have nobody visiting except for his family and the council. Now, in this case, I believe that they only said the council would be visited. Okay, but let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. So, full home detention with GPS monitoring. Counsel will travel to this location for any in-person meetings with Mr. Combs or have counsel meetings via video. Now, to the extent Mr. Combs' travel is necessary to attend court or any pre-approved medical appointments, his travel will be restricted to the Southern and Eastern districts of New York and the Southern District of Florida. Mr. Combs must pay all or part of the cost of location monitoring, 24/7 monitoring by qualified security personnel approved by the government and pretrial services. Okay, let me skip over some of this. Now, they say Mr. Combs will have no access to telephones or internet except for during calls with counsel to be arranged by security personnel. Restricts all visitors except for counsel and pre-approved list only consisting of specific family members. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much the same thing because the family members and the counsel, that's what they had last time, with the consent of pretrial services and the government. Okay, family visits will be scheduled only with pretrial services prior to approval. Security personnel will monitor family visits. Mr. Combs shall avoid all contact directly or indirectly with any person who is or may be a victim or witness in the investigation or prosecution. Now, Mr. Combs will consent to provide pretrial services, random access to the residence. Mr. Combs' passport was surrendered to his counsel on April the 1st of 2024, which counsel will provide to pretrial services. Okay, the following family members have also surrendered. Okay, this is all the same stuff. I'm going to skip past some of this because this is all repetitive because this is the same thing that they said last time. Now they say Mr. Combs will participate in a program or counseling if directed by the pretrial services officer or supervising officer. All other standard conditions of pretrial release, additionally for the avoidance of any doubt, and as stated during the September 18th, 2024 hearing, if Your Honor wants something more or different, we can do whatever Your Honor thinks is necessary. Now, these proposed conditions present an extremely substantial comprehensive bail package for any defendant and are plainly sufficient to warrant pretrial release and then they list the statutes. And let me just tell you about something else that I noticed they did. They brought up the man from Abercrombie and Fitch, okay? The former CEO from Abercrombie and Fitch, Michael Jeffries. They brought him up and basically said that he got bail, okay? And so basically, you know, like he has similar charges to Diddy, so why isn't Diddy able to get bail? Well, that's probably due to his complexion. I mean, that's just honestly what I think. So, indeed, the government recently, here's where they bring up Michael Jeffries from Abercrombie. Indeed, the government recently successfully requested pretrial release for two similarly situated defendants, including a CEO accused of sex trafficking dozens of young men, including through witness intimidation. So here's the thing. Michael Jeffries was also alleged to have intimidated witnesses. And keep in mind that the reason they specified they didn't want Diddy or weren't going to give him bail was not so much as because they thought he would flee the country, that he was a flight risk or anything, because keep in mind they had his passports, but because they claimed that he was intimidating witnesses, specifically after he reached out to Kalina Harper about 82 to 100 times. Okay, even though he said that they didn't know that she was a grand jury witness at the time. But so this man has also been accused of witness intimidation and he got bail. So that's their argument. Okay. And they list his case, United States versus Jeffries. Now in Jeffries, the government sought release despite claiming the defendant relied on the services of a security company to surveil and intimidate witnesses, thereby securing their silence. Now, the conditions of release requested in Jeffries pales in comparison to the conditions proposed by Mr. Combs. Okay, so they're saying basically that what Diddy is offering for bail, what him and his attorneys are offering for Diddy's bail is much more than what Michael Jeffries even offered, because the government requested a bond for him and $500,000 respectively for the two released defendants. Okay, and released them to home confinement with GPS monitoring, the same thing that Diddy has agreed to. The requested conditions included no additional security or surveillance arrangement whatsoever. So Diddy is offering more than what they gave Michael Jeffries. Okay, so please pay attention to that, because that doesn't sound fair to me. At the end of the day, yes, I know Diddy is nefarious, but at the end of the day, you see how somebody who's not Diddy's complexion, you see how they let them get bail, even if they have the same set of circumstances. Because I didn't even know that Michael Jeffries had been accused of intimidating witnesses. Okay, so goes on to say, during the hearing, Judge Carter's primary concern appeared to be a risk that Mr. Combs could obstruct justice and intimidate witnesses using third parties, which is what they're saying Michael Jeffries did. Okay, please pay attention. They said he did it through a security company, all right, and had these witnesses intimidated to silence them. Now, specifically, that he would still have access to employees and other individuals and could obstruct justice and intimidate witnesses through those folks, even through coded messages if necessary. However, under the proposed updated bail conditions, Mr. Combs would not have access to employees and friends, okay, and would not speak to those employees. Now, the indictment has 3 counts: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, the racketeering conspiracy count does not allege that Mr. Combs himself engaged in or conspired to commit any particular racketeering act, and the grand jury did not need to find probable cause regarding any such conduct to return a true bill. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Now, count 2 alleges that Mr. Combs committed the crime of trafficking starting in 2009 and concluding 6 years ago in 2018 against a single victim, and that's victim 1, which we know to be Kathy. Now, the indictment, even though they don't say her name. Now, the indictment contains no allegation of additional victims or minors. Okay, there is also no allegation that any sex trafficking occurred in the last 6 years, although count 2 triggers section then they list the statute, or not the statute, but the sections 3142C and D, presumption of detention. It is the only charge that does so. Now, over the past 6 weeks, the defense has received approximately 23.5 terabytes of discovery material. The material reveals new information about the case, the evidence, and the government's previous bail contentions that was not known at the time of the hearing. And they have a lot of stuff in here that is redacted. I don't know why, but they have a lot of stuff that's blacked out. First, the discovery includes blank that refute the government's core sex trafficking allegations. Second, this new discovery negates the government's claim at the initial detention hearing that there is a potential second victim. Third, the discovery shows the government's obstruction and witness tampering allegations were basically not factual. Now, the first mention, they have a whole section right here blocked out. Okay, now the first mention of any sex trafficking or unwanted sexual conduct or contact involving alleged victim 1 was in November of 2023, 5 years after the couple's 2018 breakup. The evidence shows these allegations were merely attempts to obtain a financial windfall from Mr. Combs. They really need to stop saying that. I'm sorry, this is making no sense, because after we saw that video, now, how are they still going to try to make people think that Cassie was trying to just get a bag? Okay. Now, in the spring of 2023, victim 1 revealed to one or more others that she needed money to support her small family. She told others that she had started writing a book about her relationship with Mr. Combs. In June of 2023, she texted Mr. Combs' employee that Mr. Combs should contact his lawyers to have his lawyer speak with her lawyer. She followed up on this by a text June 15th of 2023. That same day, her lawyer contacted one of Mr. Combs' lawyers, who, expecting that she might make an extortionate demand, recorded the conversation. Okay, they recorded Cassie's conversation. That's interesting. Okay, now during the approximate During the approximately 8-minute recorded call, the lawyer confirmed victim one was writing a tell-all book. So that's why they say the cats was trying to extort them, because they were saying she needed money to take care of her family, and she was trying to write a tell-all book. Now, the discovery also undermines the government's argument that Mr. Combs attempted to tamper with other individuals, including grand jury witnesses. During the previous bail hearing, the government outlined that it built an obstructive communications with grand jury witnesses in June and July of 2024. Okay, it further characterized Mr. Combs' September 2024 communications with another person as witness tampering. Judge Carter considered this the government's most persuasive evidence, posing the questions to the defense, saying if he's aware of this April 1st, 2024, then again, why is he contacting witnesses in June and July? Okay, basically saying if Diddy already knew these people were going to be testifying before the grand jury in April, why would he talk to them after that? And what would be the purpose of Mr. Combs continuing to speak to the witness after September the 11th? Good question. I'm sorry, but I think it was absolutely witness tampering, because why would he be calling somebody, trying to communicate with somebody over 100 times, excuse me, in that short span of time? Makes no sense to me, unless you're trying to get them, trying to coerce them or persuade them, convince them not to say certain things, or to in fact say what you want them to say. Now, that's just my opinion. So instead of seeing this as a setback, Combs saw it as an opportunity. Okay, the 24-year-old Combs. Oh, okay, they're talking about him and Andre Harrell. Okay, I'm going to skip past all of that, because now they're just talking about Diddy's accolades and the songs he's written, and, trying to paint him as such a good, upstanding citizen and all of this. And then they also go on to, say that he's one of his mother's caregivers, and that his mother, Mr. Combs, also supports his 83-year-old mother, who recently underwent brain surgery and was in the hospital as recently as this summer with a heart issue. Although Mr. Combs is not his mother's only caregiver, he assists with her medical care. Sean Combs' 7 children and his mother love and support him and need his love and support. The mother of 4 of his children, Quincy, Christian, and his minor twin daughters, Kim Porter, passed away, and his children are now left with an incarcerated father. His minor child, now 2 years old, has not been able to see her father since he was incarcerated and misses him dearly. This is all a sad story. Should I cue the violins? Should I cue the violins or not? Because here's the thing. I'm sorry, it all sounds so sad, but at the end of the day, Diddy should have been thinking about all of the above before he did what he did, allegedly. Because remember, Diddy maintains his innocence and does not say that he's done any of these things. But do you all feel sorry for him or not? Once in the chat if you feel sorry for Diddy. Once in the chat if you feel sorry for Diddy, because he supposedly has to take care of his mother. He's part of her caregiving staff. Part of Miss Evie. Miss Evie put the violins in real quick. Okay, he needs to sit down somewhere. Now, I'm sorry. I do feel a little sad for his kids. Some of them, the grown kids should be able to deal with it and suck it up, Buttercup. Okay, Perplexed head, not the violins queen. Okay, don't get me started. But the bottom line is he didn't think about his own children when he was out here gallivanting around, having these nefarious freak-offs and doing all these other things of which he has been accused. Now, if these things are true, because again, like I said, he's not capable to any of it. So, I feel sorry for the daughters, the twins, and little Love. She's so precious. But, this is Diddy's own fault. He dug this hole for himself, okay? So please pay attention. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. So we're supposed to sit up here and cry, I guess, because Diddy's having a hard time talking about they love him dearly. Well, he should have thought about all of that prior to. Okay? And the fact that they say his confinement is unconstitutional, I'm sorry, aren't people that commit crimes supposed to sit in jail? What? Make that make sense. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops is all I'm saying. And then listen to this part, you guys. I found this all nefarious, because here's what they said. They say the government maintains that its investigation is very much continuing. Okay? And they say that more discovery is likely to come up down the road. Now, it further noted that it has yet to succeed in extracting and restoring certain devices, describing such processes as a work in process, some contingent on technology advancements. These hurdles persist and have stalled the defense's review and preparation. The defense's recent attempts to confer with the government regarding Mr. Combs' use of a laptop further confirm the current conditions are not tenable. So they want Diddy to have a laptop, y'all. They think Diddy's supposed to be sitting up in the jail cell with a laptop so he can work on his case. Isn't that what his attorneys are for? I mean, this is just the first time I've heard of a defendant who has a whole entire legal team working so relentlessly on their own case. I mean, the only time I hear of people doing this is the jailhouse lawyers, who have no choice because they can't afford, adequate counsel. So they go to the library in prison and stuff, and they start doing their own research and trying to put together their cases and all of that and filing habeas corpuses, and all of this stuff. But please, they're saying he needs a laptop. They say there is no way Mr. Combs can review all of this discovery during visits by his attorneys. He needs a laptop so that he can work on his case as often as possible on his own time. I'm sorry, this is so ridiculous to me. What? They say he needs a laptop so that he can work on his. Nita's and Mike's world said times change, Queen. You know what, beloved? You're right. And that's exactly what I was thinking. I was just about to say, well, darn, have times changed? Fat Boo said, Queen, do you think they're holding him to connect him in the missing children situation? No, I think they're holding him. As I told y'all before, beloved, I think they're holding him because they want to break him. They want him to crack so he can tell him where the goods are. You see, Diddy's attorney is right. When his attorney says, because I told you all this weeks ago, remember, when Diddy's attorney says that, the state's case is thin. Well, it seems to be, because I told you all a couple of weeks ago that they did admit, one of the agents admitted to the New York Post that in fact they did have some footage of Diddy getting busy, having little freak-offs and whatnot, but they said they could not surmise as to whether or not it was, they couldn't tell whether or not it was consensual. I see some of you all saying Trump is going to get Diddy out. No, he's not. Did you all hear what Diddy said about Trump? And y'all know Trump is vindictive and petty and all of the above, honey. He wouldn't get Diddy out if Diddy paid him. Because remember, I showed you all the video of what he said about Trump. Okay, now Trump did say that he would defend Diddy and that Diddy was his friend and all this and that. But Diddy, back in 2020, was talking trash about him. I showed you all the video. So, honey, Trump's not going to get him out. And I told you all Kamala wouldn't get him out either. Okay, if she had been in office. Now, with that all being said, the bottom line is I just find it interesting that they want this man to get a laptop. So, Nita's and Mike's world told me that times have changed, Queen. So I guess I'm behind the times, honey. I guess I'm, but it's still funny because this is their argument. Like, I'm sorry, when you're in jail, you don't get what you want. That's not how it works. Okay. That's not how it works. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. So anyway, it goes on to say, however, even though he has been in custody since September the 16th of 2024, he still does not have a laptop. Defense counsel has been working with prosecutors since Mr. Combs' arrest to supply him with a laptop that complies with MDC security requirements. Well, this is what I'm not. This is the thing right here. When his attorneys are going over all of the evidence during the period of discovery, when they visit with him, can't they just brief him on what they have and what they have found? Like, I'm not understanding why he needs to specifically go through all of this. And how is it going to go through all these terabytes of information? That's going to take a whole long time. I can promise you that. But anyway, so they go on to say that just last week, the long-troubled facility was subject to remember when all the people came, a multi-agency operation enforcement sweep, and yet another corresponding lockdown. During the sweep and lockdown, Mr. Combs was removed from his unit so officers could search its contents. He was not entitled to be present for the search. Officers ruffled through his personal notes and then left them scattered, out of order, and disorganized. These notes included his work product and notes reflecting communications with defense counsel. The officers also seized Mr. Combs' pens, leaving him unable to take further notes while reviewing discovery or during counseled calls. As a result of his lockdown, defense counsel was delayed in meeting with Mr. Combs, losing time for trial preparation. Additionally, MDC does not permit counsel to provide Mr. Combs with even the basic materials for trial preparation. We cannot equip him with notebooks, folders, or physical documents, for example. Now, that's kind of strange. They won't even give him notebooks and folders? Okay, well, how is a defendant supposed to completely or competently defend himself or consult with counsel in a case of this magnitude without such basic necessities? Yeah, that's a good point right there. I mean, the least they should do is be able to give him a pen and paper, so that he can take notes. I would just think so. I would just think so. But what I was saying, I forgot who asked the question about, do I think that they're keeping him for the missing kids? No. As I was saying, I believe they want him to tell them where the goods are, where the real footage is, the footage that he was allegedly saving to blackmail the other people with, the elites or whatever, because they don't have that stuff. It's obvious they don't have it from what they told the New York Post. The footage of the people being drugged and taken advantage of, allegedly. They clearly don't have that because they specifically said they couldn't tell whether or not it was consensual, the video footage that they saw. So Diddy has all this stuff stashed somewhere, I'm sure, and they're trying to get him to crack so he can start telling them where the stuff is. That's what that is. And like I told you before, so they can clean up or get rid of evidence. This is just my opinion, okay? This is all speculation. But so I believe so that they can clean up or get rid of some of that evidence that could possibly have some big time people, some very powerful people on video footage, okay? But that's just my 2 cents. Okay, now. Okay, so I think this is a letter from the judge. And in any event, less restrictive alternatives must be considered and rejected before imposing a restraint on speech. Oh, this is pertaining to the gag order. Okay, yeah, I forgot I had this. So this is all pertaining to the gag order. Okay, basically, when he was trying to get Courtney Burgess, him and his lawyer were trying to get Courtney Burgess, who testified before the grand jury, when they were trying to get him to be silent and stop, going around saying stuff. Well, the judge wasn't going for it because here's the thing. If someone testifies before the grand jury, they can still actually go out and speak about it, even though grand jury business is secret. Okay, but they can still go and speak about it according to this. So to the extent Combs has a particular concern regarding statements made by attorneys for grand jury witnesses. Okay, the court reminds counsel that the local rules clearly state that with respect to a grand jury or other pending investigation of any criminal matter, a lawyer participating in or associated with the investigation, including the lawyers for the accusers, targets, etc., shall refrain from making any extrajudicial statements if there is a substantial likelihood that the dissemination of the statement will interfere with a fair trial or otherwise prejudice the administration of justice. Any grand jury witness, however, that's what the attorneys are supposed to not do. But any grand jury witness may disclose publicly anything that counsel therein, including quotes or questions asked of the witness and answers given. So that's why that gag order got denied, because basically That's what the judge wrote in the letter, saying that basically these people, the person, even if they were questioned or whatever, they can go ahead and answer, or they can talk about whatever they were asked or whatever answers they gave. Okay, it says courts do have discretion to impose a reasonable obligation of secrecy on grand jury witnesses in an appropriate case. But Combs has only raised statements in the media from a single grand jury witness. He hasn't made an adequate showing why a blanket gag order on all grand jury witnesses is warranted. So basically, the only person he can say that was out there running their mouth that has testified before the grand jury was Courtney Burgess. And so therefore, the judge said, nah, I don't think so. There's no need for us to make a blanket gag order so nobody can say anything. Okay, so please pay attention. Please pay attention. Now, Reggie says, I don't think Diddy will run. He is so arrogant and such a narcissist. He'll fight until the end. I absolutely think he will fight till the end, too. I believe it, beloved. Goodness Rated Bo said, Diddy, sit back and do some time. Trump got you from one S offender to the next. Trump got you. He got you. Like I said, he's not getting out of that. Trump's not going to help him, honey, after what he said about him. Let's not forget how vindictive and narcissistic he can be. Reggie says he wants to testify. I think he'll drop bombs like Nino Brown. Not drop bombs like Nino Brown. Fat Boo said there isn't a person in the world that don't know what's going on. Okay, he's stuck on that. Right. Everybody knows. Like, what's he trying to hide? Nia said, same reason the feds let Tupac get killed, even though they was watching. Thank you, beloved. Okay. Exactly. All right. That's what I always said. They had him under surveillance, but don't know who took him out. Please make it all make sense. Okay, and so with that all being said, let us move on to the next receipt. Perplex said, leave Nino Brown out of this. Y'all are something else. Okay, so now with that all being said, honey, let's talk about these Temu Jailhouse freak offs, okay? Because they said they got peepholes in there where they can get some action. I find it all nefarious. I find it all nefarious. Let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance. Sean Diddy Combs housed in low security jail dorm alongside Sam Bankman-Fried, where inmates can spy on female convicts, according to sources. He's at a freak-off friendly jail, they say. Sean Diddy Combs may be behind bars, but sources who have done time in his unit say it won't necessarily curb his alleged pervy ways. Now, the Bad Boy Entertainment boss is in the 4 North unit of the Metropolitan Detention Center, known as MDC, in Brooklyn, a dorm facility which has around 20 inmates, looser rules than general population, and diversions for prisoners, including air hockey. One unattended feature also provides a thrill for inmates interested in female attention. Please pay attention. They say there are grates in one of the rooms of 4 North. This is what Gene Borello, a former mob enforcer who spent time in the unit, told the Post, saying they have little holes. Now, if you lie down, you can look through the holes and talk to the women 1 floor down, and you can even see them. Considering prosecutors claim Diddy held so-called freak-offs, orgies in which SEX workers engaged in all manner of carnal activities for the enjoyment of the rap mogul and his cohorts, it begs the question as to whether he could put together a clandestine big house version. This is all crazy. Not a big house version. But goes on to say he could if he wanted to, says Borello. Another former inmate who's a gang member who goes by the name of G-Lock told the cryptocurrency insider Tiffany Fong when she interviewed him on X that the female inmates, they aren't shy either. They'll show you their its with a T and play with their oochies with a C. Okay? He boldly proclaimed. But Borello warned that the females of the 4 North are rungs. They're rungs down from the models, professional strippers, and others who claim to have been recruited by Diddy's crew for the alleged freak-offs. They're gross. This is what he said of the women on the 3rd floor. Most of them are drug addicts. clearly a Temu freak off. Now, Diddy has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering and sex trafficking and has denied any wrongdoing. Still, a judge has turned down a $50 million bail offer made by his attorneys, although they remain hopeful and a bail request is being evaluated by the court. Now, with that all being said, before everything unraveled, Diddy's life was filled with private chefs, private jets, bedrooms as big as football fields, and toadies at his beck and call. Now, these days, life in the 4 North unit of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn offers a lot less privacy. One person says, it can be super boring. Excuse me, this is what Jeff Nadeau, who hosts the Crime History podcast, The Sit Down with Jeff Nadeau, said. Now, the dorm is reserved for high-profile criminals such as Sam Bankman-Fried, who is currently serving alongside Diddy, and before he was convicted, R. Kelly, as well as others who need close protection. However, Nadeau made it clear that sometimes things can get boring. Go into the regular units and it's nonstop cutting and stabbing and fighting, so it's kind of better to avoid all of that. A positive bit of news for Diddy is that he has a bit more freedom than inmates in other parts of the jail. You see, they're not in cells, Fong says. Okay, a friend and frequent correspondent with Bankman-Fried. He says, you envision them in small cells, but they're actually in a unit that is set up like a dorm and designed for high-profile individuals. Okay, the president of the Honduras was there. What was the president doing in jail? President of the Honduras. Now, royal treatment at the MDC is very small beds. Okay, even smaller than twins and no more than a foot apart from one another. The beds are made of steel. The mattresses are 1.5 inches thick and there are no pillows. The lack of privacy doesn't end there. The showers and bathrooms only have a thin curtain for privacy, says Fong. A lot can be heard by the other inmates. Now, while there are no set schedules, lingering in bed and staying up all night are both discouraged. There are head counts during the day, and they typically wake up early. Typically, they're up at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. I think the lights go on and off early. Now, but according to Borello, with the right cop, you can spend all night watching television. So as for the day-to-day, Fong ticks off more time killers than you might imagine. Saying there is a gym, board games, card games, and ping pong. Okay, inmates have access to tablets that are not connected to the internet. They can watch movies and play video games and listen to music. Apparently, there are books, but those are limited. Michael Lewis, going infinite about Bankman-Fried, was not there when Sam first arrived, but is there now. Now, maybe someone smuggled it in. So as far as food goes, Diddy's not eating his favorite delicacies such as truffle pasta and lobster. They have chicken sandwiches on some days. They have hot dogs along with so-called murder burgers made from a thin patty that some have compared to shoe leather. And the best meal of the week is chicken thighs. Now, while Diddy was known as a stylish dresser, throwing his famous white parties where everyone had to dress in white and having his own Sean John clothing line, his prison wardrobe is limited. I mean, who's trying to dress fancy in prison? And so anyway, from what Wong said or has seen, they wear prison tans, khaki colored clothing, and sometimes a brown t-shirt and brown shorts, depending on the temperature. Now, there are no shortages of photos depicting Diddy during his days in the wild with a cell phone pressed to his ear. In the MDC, he can spend part of the day on his phone. Prisoners get 300 minutes of phone time per month, but that averages out to only 10 minutes per day. If he is following the Sam Bankman-Fried model, Diddy will be able to work out a schedule for meeting his lawyer. According to Fong, Bankman-Fried encountered Diddy at the MDC and had expressed an early impression of Diddy as a nice guy and kind. Early on, Diddy was generally nice to people. I'm sure he was, honey. Who's going to go to jail acting crazy? Now, Bankman-Fried described the mold-riddled facility as generally depressing. It's not designed to make you reform in some way. It is designed to break you. One ingredient that will be missing from any attempt Diddy makes at staging a behind bars freak off is the baby oil, which the Freds confiscated. They used to have it in commissary, Barillo says, but not anymore. So no baby oil for Diddy. This is all crazy. Okay. Anpu Octoro said jailhouse drawers. I find it all interesting, but let me continue. Like them, everyone, please like and share. Now let's talk about Diddy renting out his private jet, honey, because Diddy has to get his coins up. Okay, he's got to make money at any means necessary. Quick cash. Diddy is renting out his $60 million Air Combs private jet and charging $432,000 for a one-day transatlantic flight as trial looms. Honey, who's paying $432,000 for a day? Well, I guess some rich fool, I guess. But anyway. So goes on to say the disgraced rapper who is behind bars in New York awaiting trial is reportedly trying to sell his plane. Now, this comes after he also put his Beverly Hills mansion up for sale for $61.5 million. Now, mind you, from what I have looked into, there still aren't any offers, any viable offers for that mansion. Okay, nobody's trying to stay there with the ghost of freak offs from the past and all of that. You know, baby oil stains, bussy smell in the air. I'm sure nobody wants to reside there. Okay. So in the meantime, the distinctive black Gulfstream 550 is listed on various websites that offer expensive charters, although those renting it may not be aware that it belongs to Diddy. This includes it being showcased on Victor, aka the Uber of private jets, which is a favorite of Tinseltown's elites. Victor's CEO, Clive Jackson, said that its platform is used by business leaders and entrepreneurs to A-list celebrities and ultra-high net worth individuals, all with high expectations. And so Combs' 14-seater plane, which was built in 2015 and is registered to Love Air LLC, is based on Van Nuys Airport in Los Angeles, or Van Nuys Airport in Los Angeles. Now, the Victor site listing for the plane includes photos of the plane in the airport tarmac and the plane's beige interior and leather chairs. The flights are operated by Silver Air, a rental operator, which states on its website that it has a comprehensive fleet of luxury aircraft from light to long-range heavy jets and a global network operated around the clock, 24 hours per day. Combs' jet is also advertised on aviation broker site Jetly, where a return from Los Angeles to New York in the plane would set you back an estimated $116,681, including taxes and fees, for the 4-hour and 21-minute journey. Okay, well, I guess that's how you do it when you're rich, honey, because this all sounds crazy to me. For a transatlantic flight from Van Nuys to London's Biggin Hill Airport, the cost is approximately $432,708, excluding add-ons, and would take 9 hours and 42 minutes. Okay, they say the plane is also featured on the charter marketplace via Pages. Meanwhile, Victor CEO Jackson charges rich customers an increased price to offset the extra carbon emitted from these extravagant flights, saying this is a privilege, freedom of choice to fly in a private aircraft. Okay, that comes with responsibility. Customers are said to include the Beckhams, singer Rita Ora, and model Arena Shayk. Jackson also told the Times of London in 2019, the people in our aircraft are the most influential and powerful on the planet. Raising awareness with them is a far better approach than following the path of Extinction Rebellion, which is banging the drum so hard and causing so much disruption, the message gets lost. Jetly CEO Justin Crabb said that celebs often use their planes to fly from New York to Black Rock City for the Burning Man Festival, paying $55,000 for round trip. Now, pay attention. They said people don't know that it's a Diddy's, and I'm sure that's all by design, okay? Because who would want to ride in Diddy's plane? Bafana Duba says, oddly, it's not that much for the house or a plane to be near $1 billion. Wouldn't there be a few hundreds of millions somewhere? Likely so, beloved. Likely so. Anita says, I know, right? Or white fingernail. Oh, you talking to Terry about white fingernail polish. And y'all know about the white fingernail polish. His mother had it on too, which I found all interesting. Baby don't want baby oil anymore. J&J going to go out of business. Y'all are terrible. Okay, but anyway, let's continue. Okay, so I'm gonna play the audio. Hold on just a second. Oh, and let's go to this video where they said that Diddy's former bodyguard. Hold on. Diddy's bodyguard sued for a 1996 physical assault outside New York club. Okay, so this is a report from News Nation. So I'm going to share my screen. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Says, you know, he's following you. And I didn't think of it as a threat. Next thing you know, we're in front of Herald Square. It's about 1 a.m, and his bodyguard pulls his sports car and runs me off the road. So now I'm on an island, the trooper, and we get out of the vehicle. Lance gets out of the vehicle, but that's the moment we realized he was not alone. It was not just Puffy and bodyguard. There were 4 other cars. They were loaded with guys. The next thing I hear is pop, pop, and then Lance says, gun, gun, and it's all going down at the same time. And for the life of me, how I got teleported out of that situation, I don't know. But I jump back in my truck. Lance jumps back in the truck. I jump over the island. Now it's a hasty car chase. I'm on sidewalks. I'm going down one ways. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. There's not a lot of traffic, but the traffic that was there, I was able to basically escape this guy and his goons. That's what happened that night.
It's an incredible account, and it's very detailed as well. So I'm assuming that you've included all of these details in the lawsuit. The only question I have for you, DeWitt, is that the statute of limitations on assault is usually about a year. How are you going to get past the fact that this is decades now?
Well, the way to bring a case into court past the statute of limitations, if you're not SA'd, sexually assaulted with the New York state laws, is new evidence. And as of recent, a few months ago, I'm in touch with, there were 2 people with me in the truck, by the way, and I have not had contact with them. But recently I was in touch with Lance Calfé. Lance Calfé was my security in the truck at the time. And so we've all been intimidated, quite frankly, by Puffy and his money, you know, and his name changes and all of his goons and security and his fan base. And so 2 things. Number 1, I got back in touch with Lance. He gave full testimony to the event that night. He's never given full testimony. Number 2, as I said, not just me, but many people have been intimidated by this guy's power and influence and his money, and not for nothing, but he could wipe me out in no time, you know, with that much power. So I was afraid, to be honest with you. But ever since he's been locked up now we have the federal government on our side. We feel protected. We're no longer afraid. And I speak for all the victims, whether it's Cassie or Natanya Rubin or who got shot in the face by him, or any of Diddy's victims. I'm here to speak out for them. So in terms of not coming forth, I just feel safe now to come forth and tell my story. And that's really what it is, just standing on my truth.
Well, DeWitt, I'm really appreciative that you came on to talk to us exclusively about this. I hope you keep us posted on the status of the case. Will you do that?
Yes, and Ashley, not for nothing, but, you know, there are a lot of people at his parties. And some of the most influential people that we've seen on tape have been Kim Kardashian, have been Al Sharpton, have been T.D. Jakes. All of those people, including Ellen, have all been quiet. It's quiet, even since Cassie's beatdown. But they're not speaking out now. They're not speaking out when, I mean, she was beaten up on CNN, for God's sakes. They're not speaking up. Everybody's hush. We have to decide if we're going to choose evil side, or the good or the evil side. And for me, there's only the good side. So make up your minds, guys. Make up your minds. What are you going to do? You're going to stay quiet, or you're going to speak up? This guy is a menace to society.
Well, DeWitt, I think you're going to start seeing a lot of people who will speak up. Certainly there will be subpoenas with the cases as far-reaching as this one. Thank you for doing this tonight. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for blessing us, the veterans. I'm also a former Marine, so thank you so much.
Oh, well, you're never a former Marine. You're a Marine, and Semper Fi, my friend. And thank you so much for your service.
Always a Marine.
By the way, let me give a
Fi.
plug
Yes,
for your book as well. Always a Marine. You can find more of DeWitt's account in his memoir. I told you he's penned over 100 books. The Night Puff Tried to Kill Me. DeWitt Gilmore joining us exclusively tonight.
I'm not trying to be funny and not to victim shame or blame anybody, but some of these people are straight up clout chasing, okay? Some of these people are straight up clout chasing. Now, right? So with that all being said, sir, did you come on there to promote your book? You're talking about you got your arse, you almost got your arse beat by his bodyguard how many years ago? Red said, I don't know what to think. Honey, I do. That it's all cap. And these people out here, let me tell y'all something. Let me just tell you all what it is. Let me just break it on down real quick. I want you all to pay attention. Now, ever since Courtney Burgess came out with his lying arse, going around, making up stories, mixing lies with truth, like the devil to deceive you, and going on and taking talking points that he clearly heard from Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal and others, okay? And just adding his own twist to it and pretending that he knew people he didn't even know, come to find out. Ever since he went around doing that, I just want y'all to pay attention. Now, there's other people who saw that BS, and they likely were like, okay, if they fall for this fool, I know I can go in there and tell some stories. Let me go on here and tell me some lies too. And maybe I can sell my book while I'm at it. What y'all think? The Inkwell said, Queen, you called it. Thank you, beloved. I sure did, honey, because I know a liar when I hear one. And some of these people are straight up lying. Look at Fat Boo said exactly. It's a front. You already know. I mean, then he gonna sit there and try to throw out a few names just to make it sound salacious, like he really knows something. Sir, we've all seen Kim Kardashian and whoever else he named. We've seen them at the parties, okay? Sir, please sit down somewhere. Bufada Duba said, gosh, another book? Yeah, I'm writing one next, okay? I'm going to write a book on all the lives that I've done on Diddy. I'm going to take information from every single live that I've done, mush it all together, and write me a darn book. This is all crazy. Purple X says, my sentiment exactly, Queen. Clearing an opportunities, not buying it. Thank you. This is what I'm saying. Oh, this is all so crazy. Okay, Nia said, will Courtney get in trouble for lying? Well, that's a good question, beloved, and I'm so glad you asked it. You see, if in fact he lied before the grand jury, which I think that he likely did, I absolutely think that he did, and if it is proven that he lied to the grand jury, he could absolutely be in some trouble because that's illegal. That's a whole crime. Okay, so he definitely could face consequences. Now, I don't know if he lied before the grand jury, but I believe that he did because he's just a liar who lies. Okay, and not to mention the grand jury had him to come back and speak again a second time. Well, that's what they do when you're telling lies. Now, there's other reasons, but that's one of them. If you get caught lying or suspect that you're lying, they want to bring you back in so they can ask you a few more questions just to see if it all jives, okay? And if the math ain't mathing, well, you already know what happens. Dervis said equal opportunity for all liars, okay? Purple X said, you should, Queen, get a quick buck. You all are terrible. Okay, so now with that all been said, let me play one more clip for you guys and I'm out of here. But listen, I'm going to be back later, okay? I'm going to be back later. I was just up extra early and I said, let me just go live early real quick and talk about Diddy. Because did he think I forgot? In case he thought I forgot about him, I didn't. I've just been preoccupied with talking about politics. Okay, so now I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to put an overlay up here because I don't have permission to use this. Fat Boo said, Queen, you should write a book. Actually, I have 2 books. Miss Eva said, get your money, Queen. Y'all are terrible. Listen, I actually have written 2 books, nothing about Diddy as of yet. But I do have 2 books. I need to get them edited so I can put them out for sale. Okay, so let me put this up here. Let me put this this overlay up here, and then we're going to get into it. Now, they're talking about Diddy in this video, this is an attorney who's talking about Diddy. No, basically talking about Diddy's son. Okay, because Diddy's son has been posting to Instagram, and I want you all to pay attention. Christian King Combs has been posting on Diddy's Instagram, which I reported to you all last week about that. But he's trying to post positive things. I'm guessing he thinks that's likely going to help his father by posting positivity. I don't know. Okay, here we go.
Cosby trial. I made a comment once to somebody that I felt like a kite in a hurricane. Trying to stem the negative publicity that he's going to get is an impossibility. It's just not going to happen. Nobody wants to write the story that he was a nice guy in 1997. But you got to do something. You know, you sit back and you do nothing, as one of the comments said. And every single day there's a lawsuit being filed somewhere by somebody, and those accusations get unrebutted. You know, no one is commenting positively on behalf of him. And if it's just one side of the story, I think by the time jury selection starts, this won't be a whodunit anymore. This will be how much time is he going to get? And I just think that they're trying, you know, and it is an impossible task. You are not going to get in front of it, but you may get one or two people saying to themselves, well, wait a second, let's take a second look. Let's rethink it. Let's keep an open mind. It's not easy. And I don't pretend that it is for the defense camp, for his family. But why not give it a shot? And, you know, you'd be surprised. Sometimes it starts a little bit of a trend. And who knows, maybe they take their eye off some of these other lawsuits and start looking at maybe the motivation behind those lawsuits.
That's a good point. And let me ask you this. Does it seem like if Christian did this, he takes over the Instagram of his father, starts posting, does it seem that means that he is not a witness in his father's criminal case? Why do I say that? I say that because the defense has been quite vocal about prosecution witnesses or potential witnesses making statements out of court. They even asked the court for an immediate gag order that was actually denied. Does it seem, though, that if he's making these kinds of posts, that he is not a witness in his father's criminal case? What do you think?
I wouldn't conclude that, and I don't think we should. You bring up a really fantastic point, which is if he is going to be a witness, he's going to have to own everything he's ever said or everything he's ever written or posted. Listen, could he be a key witness in this case? I doubt it. Could he be a character witness in this case? Maybe. None of that's going to matter much at a trial like this. This case is going to be won or lost on whether or not the defense can carry the day in saying nobody got forced to do anything. This guy was throwing parties. They were sex parties. People came there with their eyes wide open, with their willingness to partake in them. And now they want to try and derive some monetary benefit from having been participants in what was consensual adult behavior. That's the battleground. That's going to be the hill they're going to live or die on.
I thought it was interesting, though, Christian did this because I think, as you and I both talked about, he's facing a lawsuit of his own. Christian is. There is a former steward on Combs' yacht who said that Christian sexually assaulted her on board one night back in 2022, and Diddy, she sued him too because she said he aided and abetted it. It was premises liability. It was his yacht where this happened. So he's taking control of the Instagram, making these posts while he himself is the subject of a lawsuit. What do you make of that?
It's okay as long as he doesn't touch those areas. Him posting beautiful things about his father, tributes to his father, to his family. Can't sue him for that. You can't bring any negative connotations to him for that. And so that's why I think it's certainly been properly advised by counsel. Here's the lane you're going to stay in. Make it all tributes. Make it all positive reinforcement for your dad. Don't talk about any specific case. Don't talk about any specific complainant. Because if he does, quite frankly, it'll be a defamation lawsuit within 5 seconds. So I think they're smart enough to realize that. I hope that he is. And I expect we'll see more of it. I know that they've just taken another shot at trying to resurrect a bail motion. So I think they're going to be doing things that are going to, try to be put things in the public know, maybe through pleadings, which is a good way to do it, in motion, which is a good way to do it. That way you're bulletproof. That way nobody's speaking out of school. You speak with your writings. You speak with your charging documents and with your motions. So I think you're going to see more and more of it, because as we get closer to trial, they're going to need to reach some people. I can assure you.
Can we talk about the bail for a second, whether or not this new development affects the bail at all? Because why do I say that? Combs has made another push for pretrial release, and I believe this makes his fourth attempt. And he is saying he's providing a more robust bail package. So not only a $50 million bond secured by properties, but constant surveillance by a security team while he's detained at home, near total restrictions on his ability to contact individuals other than his lawyers. And he also says that the MDC, the Metropolitan Detention Center, it doesn't have the resources for him in order to properly prepare for trial, to be able to review all the evidence. They wrote in one of their filings, despite the MDC's best efforts to facilitate the defense team's needs, the current arrangement makes trial preparation impossible, as evidenced by the recent multi-agency sweep of the facility and resulting lockdown. Now, that, of course, is in reference to how the feds had raided the MDC for a bunch of contraband, including electronic devices, homemade weapons. Place is a mess. I've done sidebars about how the MDC is a mess. So it wasn't directly in relation to Sean Combs, but you could see how they're using that in their advantage. So, Brian, I'll give you the floor on this. A, does Christian Combs posting these things on his father's account, does this affect the issue of bail? Maybe the prosecutor saying it just shows that Combs doesn't
Were you recently injured in a car accident? Look at this check for $160,000.
appreciate the seriousness of these allegations, maybe something like that. And just your take on whether or not he could be open to bail.
Given the nature of what's been published and posted, no, I don't think it negatively affects him at all. A son's got a right to tell the world that his father was a good guy in his eyes. On the subject of bail, quite frankly, it's the latter that has my attention, which is it is pretty impossible, I will say, being at that location, at most interim hold facilities throughout the United States, for you to prepare for trial. And what's the worst thing that could happen? They would put him under house arrest, under 24-hour surveillance. The people at the federal facility would probably be tickled pink to get him out of there. Mm-hmm. And you would facilitate, I would think, trial preparation that could make a trial sooner than later. And judges like to hear that. I can't say I'm confident that they're going to now, after being unsuccessful 3 or 4 times, be successful, but that's their best argument for sure. You know, judges take it very seriously when they're worried about trial preparation, because it affects appeals if there's a conviction. Right. You know, it affects motions during the pretrial preparation. So that's going to be something that I wouldn't be surprised if there wasn't a hearing on. You know, how are we going to be able to give him the right to counsel and access to discovery? And if we can't, maybe we got to do the thing we don't want to do, which is to send him home.
I think it's a fascinating issue that's not going to be resolved that quickly, because he's taking it up to the current judge. The judge denies it. Then he's going to the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. He's raised a number of really interesting arguments, in my opinion, because it's not only suggesting, hey, I wasn't improperly reaching out to witnesses and victims like the prosecution says. Sometimes they were reaching out to me. As soon as I found out, I stopped reaching out. But I thought one of the best arguments that they made was, the prosecution said, it's not fair for someone in Sean Combs' position who can afford to make his home a private prison, for him to do that and make bail, while somebody else who's of lesser means can't do it. And that wouldn't be fair. It's a 2-tiered system of justice. And he responded, Brian, I thought this was great. The reason I have to spend so much money like this, the reason I have to turn my house into a prison, is because of the allegations you've put forward. You say I have the money and the resources to just be a danger to the public. Well, I'm showing you I will take all the most drastic, expensive steps to mitigate any concern you might have. I thought that was pretty compelling.
It is compelling. And it's 100% right. I mean, listen, nobody really thinks that if he is released under house arrest, that A, he's going to try to escape, or B, he's going to try and contact witnesses. It would be the greatest thing that ever happened to the prosecution of this case. Why would he be that foolish, stupid, ill-advised to make such a blunder? He would. And so everybody knows that. The government just doesn't want to concede the fact that he should be released. And I have a feeling that they're going to be successful.
Yeah. And look, I mean, their argument was he's been even engaging in illicit activity and freak-offs since this year, 2024, while he was in New York. They said he was engaging in illegal activity. But here's the thing, to wrap it all back up to Christian Combs for a second. You make a really good point about family members supporting their father, their mother, their brother, their sister who are locked up behind bars. And Combs' children have always been at his defense. They released a statement last month, a joint statement that said, "The past month has devastated our family. Many have judged both him and us based on accusations, conspiracy theories, and false narratives that have spiraled into absurdity on social media. We stand united, supporting you every step of the way. We hold on to the truth, knowing it will prevail, and nothing will break the strength of our family. We miss you and love you, Dad." And Brian, you know what's interesting about that? Reporting indicates that every time Sean Combs had come into court for any of these hearings, he was always looking at his family, winking, kissing, blowing kisses towards them, putting his hand to his heart. When he's on that phone call for his birthday, he actually sounds surprisingly happy and upbeat. And I'm sure in your experience, having family who are involved in the criminal process when their loved one is charged with heinous, serious crimes that could send him to prison for the rest of his life, that aspect of the family is really, really important for, I imagine, their psychological well-being and their emotional well-being.
Not only that, but I've had jurors tell me time and time again in cases that we've been successful, where there is that kind of strong family support, front row, every day, unified outside the courthouse, inside the courthouse, respectable, decent people. Jurors pay attention to that. Jurors look and they're thinking, okay, this guy's clearly not the evil guy they're telling me he is. Let me take a longer look at this. Maybe look a little bit beyond the words here. That kind of unified effort by family and not just family. I'm sure there will be people that are in the public eye that will be coming to this courthouse and coming to support him. It makes a difference for jurors. Make no mistake about it. And I think you're just starting to see the beginning of that now with these social media posts.
The only counter argument to that was everything changed, I think, for a lot of people when that 2016 video came out of him beating Cassandra Ventura. That changed the whole narrative. That gave so much credence to what was being said. And if they have the videos, like they say they do, of documenting freak-off activity or other illicit activity, they have text messages, photos, that will change the game, I think, significantly, Brian.
Jess, if that video gets into evidence, it's as long and a hard a struggle as you'll ever want to see in a courtroom. It's hard for jurors to see that and then think anything good thereafter. It really is. And that's why I said previously, to you, I think that there'll be a concerted effort to try to keep that out as evidence in this case. If it's in, long road.
That's why they've been trying to say, the defense has been trying to say that video was leaked. And if it was leaked, it should be suppressed. And so they're having a back and forth about that. But Brian McMonagle, thank you so much for coming on. Great seeing you and really appreciate your.
Okay, so you all heard that. First of all, it was leaked. How did CNN get it? Of course, it was absolutely leaked, okay? But leaked by who is the question? Well, I absolutely believe now that it was the feds, because the feds have been leaking stuff all along, okay? They've been leaking information all along. Immediately following the raids, they were leaking information. So that just speaks volumes right there as far as I'm concerned. And as to whether or not it will be allowed in as submitted in as evidence, that remains the question. But here's the thing. Pay attention to what the attorney said, okay? Pay attention to what he said about that would be so foolish of Diddy to try to intimidate witnesses and whatnot. And that he basically thinks that they're not giving him bail because they just don't want to. Well, that is what it is. Is what it is, okay? Because they didn't have the same energy and smoke from Michael Jeffries, from Abercrombie and Fitch, okay? That man got bail. He didn't put up half of the stuff that Diddy agreed to put up. He didn't give half of the bail. He didn't make half of the bail request, okay, or offers that Diddy and his team made. but he is at home. Now, mind you, his boyfriend is still in jail. And the reason his boyfriend's still in jail is likely because he's a resident of UK. So they figure, okay, if we let him out, he might just try to fly back home. So we're going to keep him locked up. But Michael Jeffries, who is the main defendant, he's at home on bail with a GPS ankle monitor and no other forms of surveillance. So what do you all think about that? Do you all think it's fair that the man from Abercrombie and Fitch got bail and Diddy didn't? Once in the chat, if you think it's fair that the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch, Michael Jeffries, who also was accused of intimidating witnesses via a third party, the same exact thing that they said Diddy may be doing, that they're afraid Diddy may do. Once, if you think that that is fair or that he should have gotten bail. Because I think they both should be sitting in there. Either they both should be sitting in jail or either both of them should have gotten bail. But it should not be one or the other at the end of the day. Okay, so everybody's saying, no, it's not fair. That's right. What's fair is fair. And I just want you all to pay attention to how the judicial system, you know, you can do something nefarious or whatever. But at the end of the day, when people who don't look like us do something nefarious, they always get some type of leniency. That's right. Goodness rated both said he has complexion for the protection. Exactly. Exactly. Emperor Rex, where have you been? I can't even believe my eyes. Emperor Rex is in here. Okay, so anyway, with that all being said, guys, listen, I'm going to conclude this broadcast, but I'm about to be live on the backup channel for those of you who follow. That channel. We got to talk about it and get into the nefariousness of it all. If you all hold on just a second, give me just a second. I'll drop the link. Hold on. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. And while I'm getting this together, let's have another word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes. Here we go.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
All right. So with that all being said, you can purchase your 12 Tribes oil at Etsy.com. Just go to Lisa Crafts. And also you can find it at Walmart.com. Okay. So I'm going to schedule this for 9:30. It's 9:16 now. I'm about to drop the link. Hold on. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Hold on, I'm just getting my thumbnail together real quick. And so keep in mind, I will be back on here later on today with some other information I want to tell you guys about. Okay, here we go. Almost done. And listen, by the way, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, Twitter at DGoddess27. Okay, there it is. I just created the link. So I'm going to share this real quick and then we're out of here. Everyone, be sure to get those likes up. Remember, it doesn't cost you a single thing. I want to thank those of you who contribute to the channel, whether you send super chats or you send cash apps. I appreciate you all and thank you for your support. And it's always good to like the videos, okay? That helps put it in the algorithm so that more people view the live. And like I said before, it doesn't cost you a single thing. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, here we go. All right, here's the link right here to the next live. Hey, Andrew. Well, I love you, right? Black Perplex. Thank you, beloved. Okay, that's the link right there. So I will see you guys in about 12 minutes, okay, on the backup channel. With that all being said, Yvonne said, great show, Queen. Thank you for your time. You're welcome, beloved. Okay, so listen, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoy the rest of this beautiful day. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got